At
Yeah,
least now I
no
have
problem.
my background. Finally, I'm in my
Yeah.
office.
Querían show perras? Pues aquí lo tienen. Welcome to yet another Drag Race review podcast. I'm your host, Terry Blas.
And I am Chucho Quintero.
And this is the J Word, your home for all things Drag Race Mexico. On today's episode, we're going to discuss the full trailer that came out, the hosts, judges, and contestants of season 1. But first, I'd like to explain my outfit. I have a questionable haircut right now that I'm not too happy with. So it's going to be hats for a couple weeks. Um, and so I thought I would give you like a black turtleneck and a beret Valentina moment, but if we're being honest, it's giving DeJa Skye. especially if I do this. Are you ready?
Oh wow! That's something else.
I think I'll keep these on. Why not?
I was born at a very young
age. That's one of the best things I've ever seen on Drag Race. It was so
Yeah,
funny. So here we are. I hope you're doing well. How are you?
I'm great. I'm really excited to
Good.
talk about the queens.
All right, let's get into it then. Um, let's talk about the hosts. First, I think we should discuss Lolita Banana.
Yes.
How do you feel about Lolita hosting?
So I mean, ever since they announced that it was actually happening, that the show was actually happening, everybody was like just mentioning every single, experienced queen in the country, like, oh, they should host and they should host and this one should host and blah blah. And I feel like I kind of always knew that they would go for someone within the franchise, and so the options were pretty limited. Like everybody was like Valentina, Valentina, and I was like, as much as I could find reasons not to have her, she's kind of the only option, you know? But
Yeah,
then the Drag Race France started, and the moment I saw Lolita Banana, I was like, oh no, like I feel like it's her, like let's see what happens. And like 3 episodes in, everybody was already in love with her. So I was like, you know what? Like, if Rita Baga can host a drag race show that she's not even from that country, I feel like Lolita has it in the bag. And then
well,
when they announced,
I don't think everybody was in love with her, but we're
well,
going to talk about we're going to talk
yes.
about Kitty Smile.
But anyway, when they announced that it was the both of them, I was like, oh, that's actually a pretty great idea for what we said the
Yeah.
other day, which is like they
Hmm.
kind of complement each other, So
Yeah.
so I feel like it's great. I feel like they're gonna do a great job.
So I've said this rant before on another podcast, and I've tweeted about it and everything, but I do think we need to mention how she was treated on Drag Race France, because
Yeah.
I think it was effed up. It was, so first of all, let me preface this with, I think on Drag Race France she did very well. She was very proud of like her Mexican heritage, showing culture, and I remember that they did the episode with the makeovers,
Hmm.
and all the other sorry about it, but all the other contestants like clearly gave production the name of their like tiniest AFAB friend, right? Like assigned female at birth. Look, who's the tiniest girl that I could throw a bikini or some fabric on, and a little bit of liner and chapstick, and we're good to go. And Lolita's person was like a dude, right? Like a straight guy. And in my opinion, she did the best. Hers was the biggest transformation. Her queen looked amazing. They came out, I think they came out in like the baile folklorico dresses, right? And the thing that pissed me off was that it was very apparent to me that the judges and the production knew that she had done the best, but they did not want her in the top 3. So, and because she's Mexican, so they probably felt like, oh, that's not a good representation of France. And in my opinion, if they feel like that's not a good representation of France, then don't put her on the effing show. Like, you're just putting her on there for like fake diversity so that you look inclusive, so that you look, but if you're not going to treat her fairly, then don't do it. So I have a tweet that I tweeted out that I'm sure you saw. But well, first of all, before I get there, what they do is they then set up, oh, we don't know who to get rid of. You all did so great. We don't know what to do. So you're all going to lip sync for us. because in a lip sync they can clearly say like, oh, sorry, you didn't do as good as her, and that's how they get rid of her, right? I think it might be in that episode, but I'm not sure. But that tweet that I'm referring to is when I said something to the effect of like, I don't think judges would say to Shea Coulee, like, we get it. We get the African thing. We get that you're proud of your culture. We get it. But you're American. So we need to see a little bit more of the America and a little less of the Africa. That's so racist.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's horrible. And it's not anything that would happen to, I wouldn't think, a queen on the regular American franchise. And I don't think it's okay for Kitty Smile to say that to her. I think it's messed up.
Also, I feel
So
like
anyway,
she did what many Latinx queens had trouble in the past doing, which is like, okay, I don't get their humor, I don't get their language, so I'm gonna try to do the challenge and fulfill the requirements, but in a way that I am comfortable enough so that I get to shine for who I am.
yeah,
You know, which is for example, something that, you know, we know that Lenacia Sparks had trouble with. You know, like how the heck am I gonna do a snatch game if I don't speak the language? But then
like a big can.
But then some other queens have kind of like nailed how to do that, you know, and especially like, for example, Jessica. I'm so glad that Jessica has had that journey from having trouble with the language to like just not giving a fuck, you know.
Yeah.
And so I feel like she knew how to do it. Like it's not that her French was good, like it was pretty good, but she knew how to do like, okay, I'm not going to try to do the same thing that they're doing. I'm just gonna do my thing and it's gonna work, you know? Yeah. And also like I feel like it would be harder to defend, you know, queens like her or like Visa in Drag Race España, which she went through a very similar thing, and or like you know, Inti in Drag Race España as well. Like it would be hard to defend them if they weren't doing so good. You know, that's the thing. Like they are actually doing good. Right? So like, it's like, what's your excuse? Like how are you pulling these critiques out of nowhere if they're objectively like, you know, showing up in the wrong way and in the challenges? So it's like, what's going on, you know?
I know if your drag was like busted, then we'd be like, okay, yeah, you know. But they're good. They're like really good competitor. Anyway, that's how I feel about Lolita. I'm really happy that, because I'm not watching Drag Race France. That's one of the franchises I'm not going to watch anymore. And I'm really happy that we get to see more of her now, as in this host capacity, because I think she's great. So I think it's going to be really fun. She has that shady moment in the trailer. We'll get there.
Okay. Next. Okay.
What about Valentina? You mentioned a little bit about how you felt about like she's kind of the only option, but how do you feel about her stepping into this host role?
So my concern was always the level of the level of command of the Spanish language. Not because like it's one thing to be like, okay, you can be Latinx or Mexican American in the US and not speak Spanish. That's completely valid. It's fair. Like we know that there's a historical element to it, you know, like parents not wanting their kids to stand out for the wrong reasons. We know that it's a fucked up society. So like,
because of hatred and because
exactly. So we know that it's not just that these Mexican Americans are not speaking Spanish just because they don't want to, you know, like there's a reason behind it. But if you're going to get a hosting gig in Mexico, and specifically in something such as Mexican drag, which is full of references and full of inner jokes and full of all these things, it's like I felt that she really needed to be in another level
to brush up
of command. Yes, and so I always kind of even before I knew, even before Lolita came to our screens, I feel like I always felt like she needed to have some sort of co-host that could help her in, like, you know, I can see Valentina being like very regal behind the desk and being like, you know, learning her lines in Spanish and not having any issue with that. But I couldn't see her interacting with the queens in the workroom or like getting jokes and all of this. So again, I feel like they did the right decision of like mixing somebody that was born and raised here and somebody that was not.
Yeah.
And they're gonna vibe great together.
I think the reason for me that I think I'm excited about her being one of the hosts is because when I saw her on Drag Race, there had been Mexican American queens on Drag Race before. There had been Delta and Adore, and but none of them had showcased like traditional Mexican beauty on the show, right? And that's fine if that's not their character, their thing, like fine. But Valentina coming out in first of all in a mariachi, right? And then coming out like Maria Felix, and then coming like when she came out in the white wedding dress, I I am almost like embarrassed to admit it, but I started crying.
It just felt it felt so specific because it was like for everybody else it might have been like just a wedding dress but for us it was like there's something about her that looks so Mexican,
She looked like the most beautiful telenovela villain bride I had ever seen. And the thing that it wasn't just that I thought, oh, she's so beautiful and I'm crying and she's Mexican. It was more to me that like for me growing up, I always found my mom, my sisters, my tias, like to me that was like, and like my like what's that magazine Vanidades, right? Like, and then like watching telenovelas, to me that was like the height of beauty, right? So never really seen that celebrated on Drag Race, a show that is largely about, and it's about acting and singing, great, but it's also large, like there's a whole runway section. Come on, right? So it was like affirming, it was fun, it was beautiful for me to see that. So I really like latched onto her and really liked her as a queen for her looks and for, I mean, she was like on stage talking about Aguascalientes and like, and I'm like, what? Like, this is great, right? So I just love that about her. And then the funny thing is that I exhibited at DragCon one year. And the funny thing about exhibiting is that when you go and set up your table the day before it starts, all the queens are there setting up their stuff too, right? And so I saw Valentina out of drag walking around and I gave her artwork that I'd done of her. And I was like, and I was wearing a black t-shirt with the gold Mexican eagle like symbol from the flag on it. And I gave her this artwork and I started crying. I was so embarrassed. But it was so funny because all I remember that she said to me was, I told her like, it was so great to see you on the show and thank you for showing that, the things that you showed. And she's wearing big sunglasses. And all I remember that she says, like she like kind of hushed, like kind of quiet to me. She's like, I'm very well aware of the platform that I have. Like how important it is to her and to other people. It was so Valentina, it was so weird. Anyway,
my generation
that was
Selena.
yeah, right, pretty much.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was really fun. You mentioned to me once before that something about like when she came back for All Stars that she performed this song.
Yes. Also, like you mentioned the Maria Felix look, it's like it's something similar with the wedding look happened to me because it was like the prompt wasn't Night of 1,000 Maria Felixes, like it wasn't that or even movie star. It was just fur, and the fact that she went like oh fur, of course Maria Felix, and of course the freaking Cartier like snake collar necklace, and like the hair, and like she did that like not for RuPaul because I bet like RuPaul might know of Maria
wouldn't
Felix,
know what
but
that is.
she wouldn't recognize a specific look. But for us at home to be like, oh my god, she's Maria Felix. Like, why? We don't know, but she is Maria Felix,
And I guarantee you, like maybe most of those queens had no idea what her look was, and that's so cool. That to me means like she did it because she loved it.
And it's a show that Andrew Garfield watches, it's a show that Oscar Isaac watches. Right. So it's like it's that big, and to have that in that kind of platform, it was the thing that was pretty moving. And yeah, when she came back to All Stars, and she did her first number in the talent show, like again, it's not she wasn't, because Lolita, for example, she actually danced a Thalía song in the talent show. But again, it's like Valentina came to the talent show, she did her own song, but the hair, and the song and kind of like the whole vibe of the entire number, it was so Thalia
It
that
was
again
giving you Thalia, yeah.
it was something like the whole thing with Maria Felix. It's like the prompt wasn't do Thalia, you know, the prompt was like just do your talent, and he's like, well, my talent is to be a pop star, but not a Britney pop star, a Thalia pop
Yeah,
star, you know,
right.
which is
That's
so
great.
specific that that's also kind of like who else is doing that in that specific platform, you know, nobody else.
Yeah, nobody. Slightly tangential, but who do you hope they do a night of 1,000 whatevers for?
Oh God. Okay, so I'm thinking yes, because I'm thinking of because also like we have had these challenges in La Masdraga. We had a night of 1,000 Talias. It wasn't 1,000. It was like
Hmm.
five, five Talias. But it was and the choices that they made were pretty iconic.
Yeah.
I was thinking something even crazier, which is Juan Gabriel, because like
Oh my God.
because doing Juan
Amazing.
Gabriel in drag, because he
In
was already
drag.
doing drag, but like
Yeah.
to femme it up even more, like I feel like
More.
it could
Yeah,
be
that's
very
great.
iconic, because he's literally someone who would always wear like sequins and like fringes and like all these things, and
Yeah.
it
That'd be fun.
would be kind of cocky, yeah.
The last person on the judging panel is somebody, this man named Óscar Madrazo.
Sorry to this man.
But all I know after looking him up is that he owns the largest, I guess, most prestigious modeling agency in Latin America. And he and his sister co-host Que Madrazo, an entertainment talk show in Mexico City. Um, and apparently he's the first openly gay man in Latin America to have children through surrogacy.
For him.
So work.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the guest judge, the two guest judges, I guess, that have been confirmed from the trailer. Full disclosure, no idea. I don't know who either of these people are. The first one is a guy named Christian Chávez. He's, I guess, a singer actor. I looked up his well, I like Googled him, and all I saw was drama,
Yeah,
like all
yeah,
over the place.
quite a lot. So he is from Rebelde. Rebelde is this famous telenovela, teen
So
telenovela.
I know of Rebelde. I've seen like images and stuff, but I didn't know that it was
And you
in
know
the show.
Alfonso Herrera from like Sense8. And
Yeah.
yeah, okay. So he was at Rebelde as well.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But he's one he's kind of like the Robbie Williams of Rebelde, because he's not coming back for the reunion, and he's like he's a serious actor now, so he's like no, I don't do
Excuse
that
me.
anymore. Yeah. And so we already had like queer celebrities, but it has always been a struggle to be like gay and famous in Mexico, because audiences might warm up to you, but the media is always going to be like asking you like the stupidest shit, you know? And so I feel like, you know, that the tabloid culture in the US, that's our whole entertainment media here. Like, we don't have a separation
Mm.
between like serious entertainment media and tabloids. No, it's all like that kind of like shitty, like what about your divorce, you know, like it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's kind of like the struggles that he had. Like it wasn't just about like, hey, I'm out and now these are my projects and blah blah, but it was a very, you know, tabloidy kind of vibe
Yeah.
to the whole thing. Yeah.
The other person is Gerardo Nuño.
Yeah.
And what I found of him after looking him up, it literally said internet personality / actor.
Okay, so I didn't know the name, and then but then I saw the trailer and it was like, oh, it must be him. It's Rockstar. He's a rockstar, but not rockstar, but rockstar with a J. He's a TikToker, but he's a pretty gay and a pretty funny TikToker, because remember that a couple of days ago I tweeted like Terry and me recording our first
Oh, yeah,
episode
yeah.
of the podcast, and it was these girls doing like an English speaking exercise, you know, for
Yeah.
class, and be like, good day, how are you? Fine, how are you? And what do you like? And blah blah blah. He did a lip sync to that, and it just went.
Oh my God.
Like, it became the biggest thing in the fucking country. We were all quoting it. Like, we were all like, I posted the original one for this tweet, but like nobody cares about the original one. We care about his
How
version.
funny.
You know, we care about
Oh
his
my
version
God.
because he dresses up as each of the girls, and he's like, it's really really funny. And he
That's
has made
funny.
some other lip syncs that are also kind of iconic, but that one is the one that kind of gave him his career, I guess. So
Yeah.
yeah, good for her. I mean, she's now
Great.
judging Drag Race, so yeah.
Well, as opposed to the trailers that we sometimes get for like the US seasons or whatever, they show quite a few of the guest judges, right? This trailer only shows us like 2. And so I kept thinking, like, who else could they possibly get? Who else could be on it? And then I just started thinking about my dream guest judges, you know, like who I would want to be there, I guess. I don't know. For me, obviously, that's like Salma Hayek, Yalitza, Thalía, like I was listening to Race Chaser, and lately Willem has been going off about like how great it was to have Bowen Yang and the other Las Culturistas, Matt. I don't remember his name. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Sorry to
yes.
this man. Yeah, but how great it was to have them there because they're actually gay celebrities. And what Willem was mad about was Maud Apatow, who's like this, you know, young straight, I guess, nepo baby, whatever. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I love you guys so much," and like, you know, just like kind of her like vibe. And so with that in mind, I was like, "Oh, it'd be so fun to have like Jerry Velázquez, the singer, because isn't he's gay, right?
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
did. I mean, well, he must be gay because he did a whole video
No, he
where
already came out.
yeah, but he did a whole video where he had someone do his makeup as Trixie because people tell him that he looks like Trixie out of drag, which he does. So I just thought that'd be so funny, like so great to have him there. And he's done like voices, like cartoon voices, animation for like Tortugas Ninja, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Pokemon, yeah, Pokemon, and I think he was that crocodile, right? The Arlo,
Yes,
was
yes,
that
yes, yes.
him?
He was the singing
Yeah,
voice of
so
Arlo,
that's
yeah.
great.
Also was
Yeah.
thinking like speaking of gay Mexican celebrities, we could also have Luis Gerardo Mendez, who honestly is like what let's insert the rattlesnake noises. He's what Christian Chávez probably thought he was. Luis
Oh,
Gerardo Mendez is
the
like
shade.
way more famous than Christian Chávez, and he's also gay and he's also out. And we all love him. But anyway, Luis Gerardo Mendez could be pretty great. I don't know why he said that. I'm sorry. I think he could be a pretty great guest judge.
Someone's sitting under the shade tree right now.
Yes, I'm gonna get canceled for this. Anyway,
Let's bring the shade tree back. Resurrect her. What would you want for lip sync songs?
Yes. So I was thinking because okay, again, this is inevitable. Let's talk about La Matraga. I feel like at first in the first couple of seasons, like the budget wasn't budgeting, so obviously they had a lot of.
That's no read. This first season of Drag Race, the budget wasn't budgeting. So right.
Oh yes, of course, that's completely normal.
Yeah.
But the thing, like,
Yeah.
but for example, this first season of Drag Race Mexico, the budget is pretty much budgeted. So
Yeah.
obviously I feel like the difference between the songs that they can afford is gonna be huge. But I don't want just like the songs on the radio. Like I don't want the famous modern songs that the gays are listening to in Mexico. I feel like I want the classics. Like I want old school angry woman 80s ballad, you know, like I want Amanda Miguel and I want Lupita D'Alessio. She would freak out, Lupita D'Alessio, because she's like super Christian, like Yuri. But still, like it would be kind of like iconic to have her songs there. I don't want Yuri, honestly. Like I know it's her songs are gay classics, but like I feel like we are past her.
We're past that
already.
now.
Yeah. Like that she's very.
So I think this is probably going to be a new segment. I think this is a moment for Mexican American listeners who may not be familiar. What are you talking about? I know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
Yes. And welcome to Explaining the Reference. So
Yeah.
Yuri is again 80s angry woman power ballad. She's one of those icons that, you know, our mothers and then the gays from the from that time, and then we as we were growing up, because our mothers were listening to them, they kind of became gay icons because, you know, the songs were like about suffering and being hurt by men. So it was like pretty much like, you know, like that's our queen. And for many
Yeah.
years, many of these women, you know, and later on, for example, Gloria Trevi, and later on Thalía and blah blah, they realized that their audience was mostly gay, especially nowadays that, you know, they're kind of like past their prime in a way. They know that they can still fill up you know, venues with
Yeah.
mostly gay people. The problem with that is like many of them are like kind of like step away from getting too political or getting too like controversial in their opinions. But Yuri, because she's a born again Christian, she kind of went on and on about like how all my friends are gay, but I don't want you to adopt. All my friends are gay, but I don't want you to get married. But I
What
support
kind of a
you.
friend
But
are you?
I support you, and
That's
and
not
please
support.
keep buying my records
That's not
because
support.
the gay people are my entire audience. But I don't want you to get married. So
Sorry about it. People are going to be so mad at me, but to me, that is like a certain specific straight male singer from a band who does not want to leave a specific church,
yes,
but says they
yes.
support gay people.
Imagine
but
that.
they
Can
don't
you
want
imagine
to.
that?
But they don't want to leave that church because most of their fans are in that church, and then that would mean loss of money. That's
Yes.
girl.
Imagine that. Oh look, a
Yeah.
dragon.
Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine it.
Anyway, so Judy is basically that. The problem then, it wasn't just that she said that many times and we kind of moved on and that was it. No, no, no. She obviously, like a lot of gay people, are still supporting her because like she's still kind of like, you know, an icon because of her old songs. And the problem is that she then went on La Más Draga and she guest judged on La Más Draga because it's like kind of, at the time I was like, well, it's kind of inevitable because it's Judy, but at the same time, don't you feel weird having her there? And so it became this whole thing of like audiences going against the producers, like, why did you invite her? Like, blah blah blah, because she's still doubling down on the things that she has always said. She has
Yeah.
never apologized, like never, because she doesn't think she said anything wrong. So Yuri kind of became this controversial figure because it's like, well, in the 80s we love her, in the 90s we love her, but now we kind of like, it's icky to say like, oh yeah, Yuri, like why, you know? Well, we have so many others. Gloria Trevi, by the way, she's also a Christian, but she has never said anything against the gays. She has always supported, like full on supported, like gay rights. So it's like, you can be like Dolly Parton or Christian Chávez, you can be super Christian and not be a homophobe. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like Judy is kind of like, you know, we can move past her and support other, you know, older divas that have
Yeah.
never said anything against us, you know?
There's plenty of other people.
Yeah. So anyway, I would love old diva songs. Maybe not Judy, but definitely Amanda Miguel. And you know, all these great singers of the past. I would love Juan Gabriel. I know obviously Thalia, Paulina Rubio, all of those. But also like kind of like songs from like Jeans and Litzy and Linda. These girls that I just mentioned, they were like our version of our divas when my generation we were children, because there were these girls, like these teenagers, that were singing like, oh my god, I have a crush on a guy, yay. And because it sounded so like kids bop in a way, we were exposed to it. Like it wasn't shameful for us to be like, oh yeah, listen to her, because it's for kids, you know. But then as we were growing up, we were like, oh my god, no, yes, queen, you know. Like, yeah, they are our divas of our generation. And so I feel like usually we'll go for really old divas or like the contemporary ones, and I feel like those get lost in the mix, you know, because they're like in the 90s, right in the middle of the 90s. But they would be pretty iconic, and they would be really great hosts, guest judges. So yeah.
let's talk about these queens.
Yeah.
I guess, why don't you take us through them? And we'll go through and we'll just give some thoughts. You know, we won't spend forever on this, but we'll talk about each one real quick and then go from there. So, Chucho, mis chicas, por favor.
So first off, we have Argenis Drag, and she's 26, and she's from Ciudad Juárez in Chihuahua. And
All
what do you think
right.
about her look? I feel like it's just it's a very cute, simple performance look. You know.
Yeah, I like it. I like that the top is asymmetrical and that there's a different kind of pattern with like stuff on part of it. I think it's good. I like it.
Yeah. So we talked about this before, but I feel like we have queens, you know, usually in Drag Race US, like a bunch of New York queens and a bunch of LA queens and a bunch of Texas queens, you know, like as Yua Yamasaki would say, New York girls, you know. And so
if I never hear, that's horrible. If I never hear the words New York on Drag Race again, I'd be fine.
Okay, so
And I love New York and the New York queens,
but the thing is, like, I feel like in La Madraga, for example, we kind of had like a queens from many different places, but it's still pretty usual to have like a bunch of queens from Mexico City and a bunch of queens from Guadalajara and a bunch of queens from Monterrey.
Yeah.
Because those are the biggest cities. So to have queens here from like Ciudad Juárez, which is like, you know, it's a city that has gone through a lot of tragedy and a lot of pain in the past few decades, and it's not like a big, you know, like a big metropolitan area like Monterrey or Guadalajara. I feel like it's pretty great because we're gonna get to see drag from like many different places in this season. So nice. We have Christian Peralta. She's 36, and she's from Guadalajara, and she's Ricky Lip's drag daughter. So you know Ricky Lips, you have mentioned her before.
She was rumored to be one of the hosts, which apparently is not true.
Yeah. I mean, but maybe she will guest judge. We don't know. Also, we didn't talk about how I love, and I know that you love it as well, that in Drag Race España, we have had Spanish-speaking queens from other franchises.
I will. Yep. I think that's great, and it makes me wonder if we will get that on Mexico.
Yeah, like we might get Alexis Mateo, we might get, you know, Choriza May, we don't know. So I feel like
Jessica, like, but what a great opportunity to do that, because like to see someone like Jessica or, you know, any queen that speaks Spanish who has English as their second language and maybe struggled a little bit on Drag Race, to put them in the context of having them be a judge and being able to judge in Spanish. Oh, it's so great. This outfit for Christian. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, I like this dress. It reminds me kind of something that Anime Wong wore a little bit. But, and it's no shade personally to Christian, but I'm a little sick of these wigs that have like this weird symmetrical thing with like the little jewels in them. I'm kind of over
goes. Yeah. I mean, I feel like who has said it? I feel like Raya has said it in Fashion Photo Review that we go through like trends. You know, like
it was the Marcel wave for a while, and now it's this.
and now everybody's like wearing like human hair wigs like that are very flat, you know, and so some queens are like against them, like we're gonna get these trends. We're gonna get these trends going, you know, in and out of style.
I hope this one starts. This one starts moving.
Something that I like about Christian Peralta is that I love me a queen that keeps their boy name, you know, as their drag name, you know, like Chad Michaels.
Yeah.
And I feel like that gives you this vibe of like, well, maybe not with Willem, but we get this vibe of like very old school drag, like very like, oh no, I'm an entertainer that does drag.
Yeah.
You know, because my name is Juan Lopez and I'm a star. So I feel like I really love when they do that. But also here in Mexico,
you love Charlie Hides is one of your favorites, right?
Yes, a lip-sync assassin. But no, I love for example,
that's the only way Jimbo's gonna win.
somebody tweeted that the other day. I love that in here in Mexico we get your kind of like your government name as your drag name when you are specifically like a celebrity impersonator, like Ricky Lips, for
Mm,
example. So like Christian Peralta is
yeah.
like, I bet that he's gonna give us like many different
Oh yeah, that makes
celebrities.
sense.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Nice.
so
Okay.
now we have Gala Battle. So Gala Battle, she is 33. She's from Guadalajara, and we already knew her because she was part of Red Rabbit Duo, who they
Yeah.
were the first kind of like the first duo in like all these
Competitor.
La Más Draga
Yeah.
drag race. Nobody had a duo until them in the second season of La Más Draga. And then the duo broke up and she's now doing drag by herself and she's Galavaro.
Some
And
of the
she
some of the stuff they did on La Masaraga was really cool.
yeah, yeah,
I liked what they did. So I'm excited to see more
yeah, because
from her on the
they
show.
were very like circusy, like they were very like kind of, it was a very physical performative kind of like
Yeah.
drag. So I really like that. And I have to say it's inevitable, she's the trade of the season.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Go
We'll see.
look, not through her drag Instagram, but her personal boy Instagram, and she's the trade of the season.
All right.
Yeah,
I like this outfit. I think it's fun. Obviously, it's like, very it's giving me traditional, it's giving me mariachi, it's whatever. So I like it. I like that there's like a chap kind of thing that she's
yeah.
wearing, the chaps. Which I could usually take that or leave it. I don't care, but I think it's fun here, so that's cool.
So I'm gonna say something controversial. We're starting out with the controversial
But
things.
is it brave?
I don't know, but the thing is, like, you have the opportunity to do your promo look, the first promo look for the first season of Drag Race Mexico. So you know that you
Mm-hmm.
have to be like super Mexican. And we're gonna
Yeah.
see some queens as we go through these looks that are doing like something, like nopales on their heads or like very folklore, kind of outfits. I feel like a mariachi outfit in this case is the most basic idea to have.
It's a very easy like go to.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
Mexican. Here's a mariachi
it looks
sombrero. Yeah,
fine, but it's not what I would have
yeah, yeah,
done.
yeah. Yeah,
I
exactly.
would have, and someone suggested this for I was I was kind of like surprised when they suggested this for Selena Estides, who I love, um, because it's something that I would have done. But I would, and someone that is coming up kind of did this, but I would have had somebody help me design a like um couture kind of whatever, like big flowy kind of volume dress out of one of these blankets
Yeah,
that's red, and have it be huge and just like tons of ruffles and tons of, I would have done that and then have like all these ribbons and shit in my hair. And I don't know. I just think it would have been really,
yeah.
that's
It's
what I
like,
would have done.
and
Maybe I'll
also
draw it.
like, it's the thing is like, if you want to go with something very basic in Mexican culture, such as a mariachi, do it like big and drag, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, next.
All right.
So next we have Lady Quero, and Lady Quero is 33. She's from Oaxaca, and she's one of the queens in this season that made it to the La Más Draga for season 4 auditions that they had like an audition
Mm,
show, and she's one of the few in this season that made it to that audition process, but she didn't make it.
okay.
And we both are gonna love this, that her name comes from Kero from Sakura Card Captor. Well, Card Captor Sakura. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good that name's giving Jiggly Caliente, giving,
Yes,
it's
exactly.
including the anime.
Yeah, yeah.
I like this outfit. It's closer to something that I like, something I would have done. I love that the sleeve is see-through but still has the skeleton bones on it. My only thing is I would have made this hat like 3 times as big.
Yes, and like a bunch more of cempasúchil flowers. Yeah.
Oh yeah, a shit ton more. The hat huge with, and the little like bells that are usually on the outside of the hat or whatever they are. I would have had them just be little skulls. I think it would have been
Mhm.
great.
Yeah, yeah,
But I like this. It's cool.
yeah, yeah. Of the couple of Katrina outfits we've had in Drag Race History, I prefer this one to like Jinx's. Like Jinx's was kind
Yeah,
of like
yeah, of
put
course.
together, this is kind of like specifically
Yeah.
designed for this. So I like this. She's from Oaxaca, again, another city where like we're not gonna get like a humongous drag scene. So like it's great to have some representation from them.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, and now we have Margaret DeJa. Okay, so Margaret, she's 28, she's from Mexico City, and we know her as the rough queen of La Más Draga season 1. She should have won.
The what queen?
The
robbed
rough
queen.
Yes, she
Yeah,
should have
yeah,
won.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so
I love Margaret.
Yes. I feel like it's one of those things where somebody mentioned it when recapping all the seasons of Drag Race, and somebody mentioned it when they were talking about the first seasons of like Drag Race UK or Drag Race España. Usually, when you start out a Drag Race franchise, you kind of want to start with a winner that is representative of what mainstream and general audiences think of drag.
Pageant drag, right?
And,
yeah,
exactly, and like very old school and very that. So like I get why, Carmen. For example, BB won over Nina Flowers. You know, because
Carmen.
If you want to start, yes, Carmen Farala, like if you want to start a show, you have to be like, this is the drag that you know, and now we're gonna keep going, and maybe there's gonna be drag that you don't know. Yeah. So I get why Deborah La Grande won La Más Draga season 1, because it's very like, of course she has to win. Like this is the kind of drag that we all know and we all appreciate. And Margaret was like, she should have won, but I get why she didn't win. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I love Margaret. I think she's great. I loved her on La Más Draga. I'm excited to see what she does on this. I will say that I think the top of this outfit and the gloves are a different look than the bottom.
Yeah.
And I wish that those ruffles were gone and that she had just worn boots that match those gloves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would have looked awesome.
You know, just do spikes all over. Like that's great. Yeah.
Also, another thing that we have to mention is that she is the drag mother of like every single drag queen in Mexico City. Like she's a drag mother of like Amelia Waldorf, the Sales Fab, Memo Rary, Soronasti, Yayoi Bowery, like all of these queens that have been in La Más Draga. Yeah. She's the mother of them all. So and she's very young, but she's like she has had many kids.
I do want to say that I also love her drag name. And if you do not speak Spanish, don't understand her drag name, go watch her Meet the Queens video because she explains a little bit, I think, about what that name means. But I just love that yeah. Like I think it's great. Because like, that's who I am.
I feel like it's a dialogue. Like it's like my name is Margaret. Margaret what? No, Margaret yeah.
Margaret, yeah, right.
Also, another thing, like in La Más Draga season 1, there was a lot of controversy regarding her makeup. Because she has these iconic eyebrows. These are her eyebrows, you know, just like Sasha Velour's, just like many other people. But like the judges were like kind of like wanting her to like maybe tone it down a little bit, maybe like elevate them, you know, as they say. And I feel like she was very defensive, you know, like very against that. Yeah. And I get both sides. I kind of get both sides because I feel like, yes, these are your eyebrows, but you can still kind of transform them into something for the challenge, for the outfit. And I feel like from what I've seen in the Meet the Queens and this promo look, I feel like she's changing it a little bit, you know?
I think it's okay to evolve that way or whatever, but I think, so one of the reasons that I think Sasha Velour is so smart was that on her season, she had these iconic eyebrows that were her eyebrows, right? She was a bald queen. That's like her look. And the baldness of her look is in reference to, in honor of her mom who, you know, had no hair. And so she's kind of saying like femininity isn't about your hair, but she knew she was on Drag Race. So in the early episodes, she wears a lot of wigs.
Yeah.
And then for the second half of the season, she kind of really doesn't wear any. And it's so smart because then Michelle can't be like, why don't you, I just want to see you in a wig just once.
Yeah.
Like they can't say that to her because she already wore a bunch.
Exactly.
And then after that, she just does her thing. So if Margaret had been like, cool, and then done makeup different a few times, and then the second half just done her thing, I think they would have been probably okay with it. But
yeah, definitely.
Anyway, Margaret got a lot of time on this podcast.
Yes. I mean, let's be honest, she's going to be top 4. Like, that's not even.
Yeah.
That's not even a question. Okay. So next up we have matraca, which is a word that I love. I love very Mexican words like matraca. She's
What does
from
it mean?
matraca is kind of like this. It's a toy that makes a lot of noise. She has one. She has one in her hand. What the
Yeah.
thing that she has in her hand?
The
That's a matraca.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, she's 24. She's one of the younger ones, by the way. She's from Purísima del Rincón, Guanajuato. So it's a small town in Guanajuato, which is already a small state. She also made it to the La Más Draga 4 auditions, along with other queens from this season. And this promo look was designed by Aviesk, who is the winner of La Más Draga
Amazing.
season 4. Yeah. No, season 3.
I love this look. It's similar to something I think I would have done.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not always a big fan of the tiny little sombrero, but who cares?
I don't even see
but
it.
I love the way that
oh yeah, it's
well, there you go. But I love this. I think it's really cool, and I love the silhouette of it. It's and the way that like the blankety kind of thing that I was talking about, like cascades down one side. That's cool. I like this a lot.
Yeah. And also, like, I feel like it's pretty smart to include the matraca in your outfit, in your promo look.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, because obviously, like, international audiences are going to be like, what even is that? It's this.
Yeah.
She's showing it. So anyway.
Well, so she needs to merchandise that, start making those with like
with that
her image on it, right?
Maybe she's waiting for her catchphrase to be on the show.
Or for a marketing challenge.
Yes, exactly. And now we have Miss Vallarta, who is 25. She's from Guadalajara, but she obviously also performs in Puerto Vallarta. So, what about her? I like this.
I like it. I think it's so weird. To me, she looks like a gem from Steven Universe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a weird space warrior lady. I think the like, what are they called? The like nipple cover things. I think that's fun. I like her makeup. I like that it's sort of matching this like the skin bodysuit, like that's nicely done. And I kind of love this style of robe.
I want it.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it. And she's doing the Marcel wave, so
yeah.
Okay. But her makeup's slightly, it's like somewhat similar to Margaret a little bit, but not. I mean, it's still enough that it's its own thing. I mean, there's just a lot of white on the. There's like a lot of white Trixie eye right there. But I like it.
Like here in Mexico, we have like these kind of like areas of drag makeup, and we have a lot of queens that do like, the really big eye. Like that's kind of like its own thing here in Mexico. Like, oh, you're like a big eye queen, and also like a white face queen. We're gonna get one in this season, but usually we get like a couple of them in every season of.
I have a favorite white face queen who was on La Más Draga, but
yes,
those are chili peppers that are dangling from her.
Oh my God, they are
little chiles. That's great. That's great. That's a great little touch. I think it would have been cool to maybe have a necklace made of chiles. That'd be cool, but whatever.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, but I like this. It's fun.
Okay, so next up we have Pixie. This is our white face queen of this season. She's 32. She's from Mexico City. She also made it to La Más Draga 4 auditions. And she is the drag mom of Papercut. Paper La Más.
I love Papercut. I thought that was one of the most creative, cool, interesting drag artists that I saw on La Más Draga. So I'm excited that we get to see Papercut's drag daughter.
We are drag mom.
Oh, drag mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, even better.
We're gonna 100% gonna get Papercut in like season 3 of Drag Race Mexico. Like it's gonna happen. She's also the drag mom of Vermela Noir, who we are gonna get in this season of Drag Race Mexico. So we're gonna get mother
Papercut sibling.
Yes, exactly. So I really like this look. Like this look is kind of like, again, I mean, comparing twins is kind of inevitable, but it's kind of giving me what Papercut did when she did the Voladores de Papantla look, the flying guys on top of her head.
That was cool, yeah.
Because it's kind of like taking, especially because Papercut is kind of a drag king, drag queen mix. So this is giving me like something that could very much be like a folklore male outfit, but done like very drag, you know?
So if that's what I was gonna say, is that I really like this. And if you were to remove the like bodice piece thing, like dress thing, that top could be like kind of a keen look.
This is
But
kind
I
of
think it's so
what I would
cool.
expect from like a Juan Gabriel Rongo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love the like rose kind of thing on the sleeve. I love that these like little jewels on the dress turn it into a strawberry.
Yes.
Like that's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know, it's just really neat. The lining is like, red, white, and green. The headpiece has a lot of like blue and gold and fuchsia kind of colors that I sort of wish were somewhere else in the outfit, but it doesn't matter. It's like, had she just worn like a wig, like that, even like, I don't know, any wig, I think this still would have been interesting. But
Yeah. Yeah.
the headpiece is really cool. So I love this. I think it's great.
Yeah. And this kind of like like Sacred Heart here. Like this is also like something that we're gonna get a lot in Mexican drag, which is like Catholicism here in Mexico is not just like oh, if you're religious you're Catholic. No, no, no. Like kind of like most Mexicans,
It's a
because
visual
it's a
cultural
cult,
thing.
exactly. It's a cultural thing. Like even if you are not religious, like you were surrounded by Catholic images your whole life, so it's kind of part of the
I
culture.
mean, you know this about me. My Mexican Mormon mother is like, eso es una cosa
Yeah,
católica, like all the
but
time
also it's
about
like
everything.
you always you talk about it, but it's always wild to me to think about of like I know there are Mexicans out there who are not Catholic, obviously, but it's always wild to me to think like but those are the things that I grew up with. That's so weird.
Not the things I grew up with, girl. Let
I
me tell you.
know, I know. So next
All
up
right.
we have Regina Bocci. Yay!
Woo! All
Okay,
right.
so Regina is 41. She's from Mexico City, and she competed in the first season of Queen of the Universe, and she
Queen
got
of the
robbed there
universe.
as well. Yes, she
Yeah.
should have gone way farther than what she won. And then we have that she is also in the so we have this very famous musical here in Mexico. We usually get the musicals from the States, we translate them, we put them here, but we also have a very few Mexican musicals, and very few of them actually become successful. And Mentiras is a jukebox musical that is like super ultra famous here in Mexico. It has gone on for like many years, and it's a jukebox musical made up of these songs that I was talking about earlier, these Yuri songs and Lupita D'Alessio songs and Daniela Romo songs and
Yeah.
Amanda Miguel songs. And it's basically about these four women that they are all fighting for the same guy, because the same guy, he dies, and they meet at his funeral, and then they realize that they were all in a relationship with him. And so that's how you get all these songs of heartbreak and love and pain and all of that. And
Gotcha.
they, a couple of years ago, they started a drag version of Mentiras called Menti Drags. And so we have these drag queens, or we have drag, we have actors in drag, and a drag queen like Regina, but all of them are great singers. That's the thing, that all of them are great singers. And Jerry Velázquez is actually, I'm pretty sure that he has been in Menti Drags. But
cool.
Also the one that is in Menti Drags with Regina is Rogelio Suarez, who was a mentor in La Más Draga 5.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool. What do you think of this look?
I love it. This is the kind of thing that I was mentioning earlier. Like, if you're gonna go Mexican, like, yes, you can say that having nopales on your head is pretty basic, but at the same time, it's very draggy. Like, it's not just like, oh yes, I'm gonna put a nopal in my head. No. I'm gonna do a headpiece. It's gonna be very femme, very draggy, but it's gonna be basically nopales on my head. So I feel like I really like this.
Awesome. Yeah, I like it too. I think it's really cool. I like that like part of the headpiece is symmetrical, and then the other part of it behind that is, more natural cactus kind of looking. I think it's cool. I like it, and I like the dress. I don't know why I always love like an asymmetrical big thing here. Like I think that's cool. So it's fun.
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
So now we have Serena Morena. So she's 34 and she's from Aguascalientes. And you would also love this because we also have an anime queen here because Serena is, I don't even know if that's her name in every version in every version of the show, in every country, but Serena is the name of Sailor Moon here, like her.
So her name's Usagi, but in growing up when they had the American whatever dub, her name was Serena in the cartoon, but now with the new dub they just changed it back to Usagi.
Okay.
So I guess in some places it's Serena or Serena
Yes.
in English.
So
But
it's Serena
that's fun.
here in Mexico, and not only that, but also Serena Morena is kind of like a play. It's kind of a name, an idiom, because sereno is kind of like being like chill, like kind of like being relaxed. So when somebody tells you like Serena Moreno, it's kind of like calm down, you know. So she's kind of like Serena because of Sailor Moon, but also like Serena Morena, like calm down, girl. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. I think this outfit is. I think that I guess I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
The
Like,
makeup's
like,
good.
yeah.
I think the headpiece thing is fine. I even think that like the cape thing is okay, but like I don't understand what she's wearing on. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's a very controversial talk. But
Oh
also
yeah.
like the whole crossing thing, I always immediately go back to like the revolutionary fighters in Mexico in the 1900s, because they would have these the bullets, they would carry them like across their chest.
Oh, like yeah.
And so every time that somebody in fashion does something similar, it kind of gives me that, and I know that that's probably what she was going through. She was going for, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not.
Well, but how much more interesting would it have been had she had bullets on there?
Or
like
chiles instead of bullets.
Right, like to emulate bullet. Yeah, that'd be great. Anyway,
so, yeah, and then we have Vermela Noir, who is another white-faced queen, and she is also Pixie Pixie's drag daughter. She's 24 and she's from Querétaro,
where I used to live. This is insane, and I love it.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say about it. It's just so crazy.
If you're gonna do Catholic drag, this is the Catholic drag that you want to do.
Yeah, like this headpiece looks like it's part of it's floating above her. You know what I mean? Like it's insane.
But
can you read what it says on the ribbon?
Oh, okay. Let's see.
It says religión no justicia tú.
Oh, okay. So it says religión no justicia. Religión no justicia tú?
Tú? I think, yeah.
But I don't understand. I mean, I get religión no justicia. Oh no, maybe it says justicia sí.
Justicia sí.
Yeah. Religión no justicia sí. Yes, definitely. Oh wow.
I mean, it doesn't look like a C, but yeah, that's great. Oh my gosh.
This is even better. Yeah. I love it.
So cool.
Yeah. Okay. So
well,
let's go to the next one. No, that's it. Those are the queens in the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in that case, how do we rate these? Should we have a little system? What should we say? Like I guess what I'm asking is like a best and a worst, a top and a bottom, a toot or a boot. Like, how do you want to do this?
So we're gonna get Chido for our favorite and Churpia for our least favorite. So
this is so difficult.
So I feel like, oh God. Okay, so my personal Chido would be between Pixie Pixie and Vermela Noir. I feel like I'm not like a particularly a big fan of like white face queens, but these looks are like the ones that feel like a promo look, you know, like yes, I'm big, I'm draggy, and I'm here. Get used to it, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
my
I mean,
yeah, go
oh,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
Oh, just that for me, Matraca's up there too. I like her
Yeah.
look, but I think my Chido is. I mean, I think it was going to be Pixie Pixie, but with the um religion no, I think that does it for me. So I'm giving it to Vermela.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? Like my Churpia is gonna be Serena Morena.
Serena Morena, me
Yeah,
too.
I don't like it.
Sorry. I
I
mean,
mean,
that's no shade. That's like, who
yeah,
knows?
it's the name of the game, and this is just a promo look. You know, as Jasmine Kennedy would say, this is just the entrance look. So we don't know what
Right.
we're gonna get. Maybe maybe some Churpias are gonna turn into Chidas, and some Chidas are gonna turn into Churpias. We don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have a like someone that you think is probably gonna be a front runner? It's always hard to tell for
Yes.
me until like the first 2 or 3 episodes have gone by. But if you had to say someone.
I mean, I feel like Margaret and Regina, not just because of like their previous experience with reality shows like this, but also like the kind of drag that they do, how experienced Regina is, like all of these elements. I feel like Regina and Margaret are definitely going to get very, very far in the competition. I don't want to get my hopes up, so I don't get my heart broken, but yeah, Regina and Margaret are definitely up there. What about you?
I think my money's on Margaret and Pixie Pixie.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah. So we got the first trailer, the first kind of teaser trailer for the season, and we got to see many things that I'm very excited about. I don't know if we're gonna get like a bigger trailer, probably like this week, before the grand premiere. Because usually, like you said, we get like kind of like a sneak peek and then kind of like, oh, the guest judges and all of that. But this one is the
Yeah.
one that we have seen, and I've seen it a few times already because I mean, girl, the budget is budgeting. Like,
But there were a lot of things that I thought were interesting that I think we should discuss.
mhm. So
Let's do it.
as fanboys do with with every Avengers trailer, we got some freeze
Yeah.
frames here. First off, we have the stage, and the stage looks incredible. I mean, it
That
looks.
I'm not sure, but is this the first franchise to have a rounded stage
Ah,
entrance versus a square or like a
oh,
rectangle one?
yeah, yeah.
Because
I
I
mean,
don't know, but this is the first time I've noticed it.
yes, I just realized that
And
it
there's
looks.
all the lights inside of the
And
rounded archway.
usually you get in the outside of the archway, you get like light bulbs, But now
Uh-huh.
it feels like a screen, and it
Uh-huh.
might project different stuff there. So
That's
it
cool.
the
I like
stage
that.
is great. Also, like, I mean, we have to be completely, full disclaimer. We know, I don't know if you knew this, but we know that Drag Race Mexico was shot in Colombia.
Yeah.
And not only that, but Drag Race Mexico, Drag Race Brazil, and Drag Race Germany, from some reason, they were all shot back to back in Colombia in the
So did they
same.
use the same set?
I don't know. I guess not. Probably not, because that wouldn't make a lot of sense,
But then why would they be shot back to back?
because maybe the studio time, like renting the studio was maybe cheaper if they got like a bunch of shows together.
So, well, I mean, I could see them using the same
Oh, the same kind of
runway.
basic structure maybe, and they just change a
Well,
few things here and there.
if that screen you can put anything on, I could see them using the same runway, and maybe they redid the workroom for each different franchise because this
Yes.
workroom does seem specifically, we'll get there. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, this looks really cool. And the panels on the floor like lit up different. I think it looks like purple, and yeah,
Yes, 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 yes.
it's
And
cool. I
I
like
feel
it.
like, yeah, it looks pretty great. And as you were saying, I feel like this stage and this runway in particular is wider, rather than longer, like they usually are. So
Yeah.
that's great. And then we get a shot of the workroom, which looks, like you said, it looks pretty Mexican.
Yeah, its colors are also, in my opinion, different than most of the franchises.
Yeah. I feel like for me, it's giving the similar color story to like Drag Race France, you know, because
Yeah.
usually and a little bit of Italy as well, because those Drag Race workrooms, I feel like they were more pastel and not as like
Yeah.
bright as usually the RuPaul drag workrooms are. These are a bit more pastel, and I like it. I feel like honestly, this might be, from what I've seen, my favorite workroom of the entire franchise.
I like it. I think it's just going to take me a minute to get used to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. So next we get a shot of the judges. So we get the three main judges and Rojstar, and the wall behind them. I love it because it's not like
I
these circles.
love those huge palettes, the
Yeah.
big sequins with these randomly shaped like cutouts. I don't know, it's cool.
Yeah, I love it. And Valentina and Lolita look incredible.
Valentina and Lolita are giving blonde a lot.
Yes, that's what I'm seeing. Like, why? I don't know. I like it. It's like you said. It's gonna get it's gonna take a while for me to adjust to it, but I like it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's different. It's fun.
Yeah. So this is what was giving me
thoughts about
very
this.
France. Okay, tell me.
So if you look on the top right, there's like these little pastel kind of like cactuses, right?
Mhm.
Right there. There's a staircase right there. So is that where Valentina and Lolita are going to come into the workroom?
Definitely.
So like there's not a door. They're just going to come in through this like staircase entrance?
I mean, I guess there has to be a door at the top of the stairs. I'm guessing.
Well, sure, but I don't know if we'll see that. I can't. I mean, from this angle, I can't see that door.
Well,
so
yeah.
Fine. I mean, I'm just curious. I think it's interesting. The other thing is that if you look to the far left, the what? Oh, the legs. Yeah, those are hilarious.
Yeah.
Are they just the table legs?
No.
Like I can't tell.
They're on top of the table legs.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you look to the far left, you can see that apparently it's Anastasia of Beverly Hills makeup that they're going to be plugging. Then the only other thing,
which is kind of crazy, because usually with the international franchises, we get local labels. We get Crash Cosmetics for Spain, so it's kind of weird that it's not like a Mexican, label. But
yeah, I noticed that. I thought that was, well, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I noticed that, I mean, besides the colors and the general look of the room, is that there are these two animal statues to the left of the door.
Yeah.
I can't tell what they are, but I want to know.
I mean, they have to be Solo Squintless. Like, what else?
That's what I think, but I can't, like, they look like they're wearing headdresses or something.
Yeah. And then we get a shot of what I feel like it's the first photo shoot challenge, where they are basically piñatas hanging from the ceiling. And I love it. I feel like it's again, we're gonna get a lot of these Mexican references, and of course they're gonna put them, hang them from the ceiling as piñatas. So yeah,
I think it's hilarious.
Yeah. And then in the next one, we get a shot, from up top of other two queens waiting for their turn. And
look at Valentina's face.
And Lolita and Valentina out of drag, and they look incredible. Yeah.
That's so good. Is that Margaret there to the side?
Yeah, I feel like it. I feel like she is. Yeah. Oh my God, I cannot wait to see Margaret hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so I wanted to use this shot not so that we can guess who is lip syncing. No. I wanted to show you this because look at the outfits. I feel like this is a make your own outfit in the workroom challenge, a sewing challenge, but I feel like it's a quinceañera sewing challenge. Because look at the fabrics. Look at the fabrics everybody's wearing, these shiny, cheap fabrics. I feel like this is a quinceañera sewing challenge, and I'm really excited for it. And of course, somebody did something black because she wanted to be different.
Yeah. Well, it looks to me like that's one of the white-faced queens.
Yeah.
That might be Vermella, or because there's another white-faced queen on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's one that's like in a blue dress that looks to me like very quinceañera kind of dress, and I think the one all the way on the right is wearing a crown. So, come on.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So yeah. But yeah, the lip sync. I mean,
But
the girl.
we shall see.
Yeah, we shall see.
I can't tell who's lip syncing, and I don't want to know. So.
That's it. Those are the frames that we
All right.
kind of caught my attention. So yeah.
Well, this just makes me excited. Me siento muy excited. And I can't wait now. It's going to be on what, Thursdays, I guess. So
yes.
All right. Well, we're just I guess like less than a week away now. So I'm excited. The last thing I want to do in these episodes is just plug some artists and artwork that I've seen on mainly on Instagram of artists that have drawn like the queens, because I always think that's really fun, and I draw them sometimes. So far, Margaret's the only one that I've drawn, but it was from when I was watching her on La Mas Draga, and I'm sure I'll draw some as the season goes on. But real quick, I wanted to just mention some of these artists, and I'm probably going to get some of their names wrong, but on Instagram, if you go check them out, we'll show them here. But Yeli Arbol drew Vermela Noir, and El Chico que Dibuja drew Margaret. Hematophilia drew Galavero. Noah Plastique drew the whole cast as in Bratz doll style. That was kind of cute. An artist named Muerta Mosca drew the cast. Daniel Draw drew Galavero. Is that right? Is that how you say the name?
Yeah, Daniel Draw.
Galavero? Okay.
Galavero, yeah.
Galavero. Chucho Chocolatin drew Valentina and Lolita, and Jerry Castrom drew Lolita. So check them out. Follow them, give them some love. And if you end up drawing someone from the cast and you want us to, show it, send it to us, tag us in it, whatever. And, we might just share it here. Yeah. So that's it for this episode. I'm excited. Join us next week for discussing the premiere, the first episode of Drag Race in Mexico. So
I feel like it's kind of you with the Wicked movie. It's like I'm not gonna believe it until I actually watch the episode.
Yeah, until it's been inside my eyeballs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, and as always, respeta tu cultura,
Respeta
marico.
tu cultura, marico.
Okay. Can you hear when she says recording in progress?
I sure can.
She's an icon. Okay. So